officially Catholic. And then she wrote, Ave Christus Rex, meaning Hail Christ the King. And then here's her photo with her husband receiving the Pope's blessing. Now, I'm not prepared to say, as many have, that her conversion was a scam and she never meant anything she said. It was all a big ruse. I can't say that. I can't see inside her soul. Only God can figure that out. It's perfectly possible for a person to profess a certain belief and hold that belief and yet act contrary to it. But we all do that to some extent because we are all sinners. And yet it's also clear that Sarah was also putting together a carefully crafted image. Before she was engaged, she appeared on a podcast in which she claimed that she would abstain from sex until marriage, in contrast to some other women on the panel who openly admitted that they were extremely promiscuous. Watch.
What's your religious grounds?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Are you waiting until marriage?
Yeah.
Have you always waited till marriage?
Yes.
You both are virgins, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Shame, just... Okay, cool. What's your body count?
It's 8. 4. I can give like about
Sure.
like 10 and 20.
You're 20, okay.
8. 0. 0. 0.
Whoa. That's big. Surrounded by purity. I feel it rubbing off on me.
The point of showing you this, all this stuff, is not to gawk at the destruction of a marriage or to gossip about lurid details, which there are plenty in this case.
Enemy UAV inbound.
Full of those
Securing
details.
Charlie.
To move on. I'll simply say that Milo Yiannopoulos has alleged
Domination.
substantial amount of evidence
Secure
that
the objective.
Sarah was effectively proposed.
Taking A.
It's a small media. Like the moment that she was engaged with a bad with.
Taking all zones.
The allegations back with language.
Hostile UAV established overhead. Alpha secure. Get me eyes in the sky. Taking C.
Big dispute.
Knocking down Charlie. Taking Bravo.
Enemy
underway.
grenade.
Taking B.
Objective's vulnerable. Let's get flashbang sent.
Locking down Bravo.
Grenade inbound. Enemy with Semtex.
We control Zone C. We're losing Alpha.
RTXD available.
We're losing Charlie. Requesting recall above. We lost Alpha. Taking Alpha. All zones lost. Taking B.
Beginning
Securing
capture.
Zone A. Zone A secure.
Flash out.
Securing Charlie.
Arming Semtex. RCXD moving.
TACOM, authorized LTPR strike.
Losing A. Locking down Charlie.
RTXD
I see you.
ready. UAV standing by.
You're supposed to be the CIA spec.
Posting recon
Actuate.
overhead.
They're taking C.
Flashbang
Lost
sent.
Charlie.
Driving RCX.
Taking C. Locking down Bravo. Underwhelming effort.
There was not a statistically significant difference between the percentage of breakups initiated by unmarried women and men. Women seem to have a predominant role in initiating divorces in the U.S. as far back as there is data from a variety of sources back to the 1940s. said, I think that marriage as an institution has been a little bit slow to catch up with expectations of gender equality. So that's how left-wing academics present the data. They blame marriage for being a little bit slow to catch up with expectations.
Enemy expired.
They don't blame men for cheating on their spouses because, according to the data, that's not what's actually driving the high rates of divorces initiated by women. But they also know they can't blame women because every academic, without exception, is forced to embrace feminism as a religion. So they settle and blame the institution of marriage itself, which, ironically enough, is exactly the same conclusion that many anti-feminist red pillars come to, just by a different route. And yet, if you ask women...
Overton window. Seems like... It's the Overton... No, sorry, not the Overton window, the horseshoe theory. Even though they're like polar opposites. I literally said I don't play PC games. I literally said this. They're like polar opposites. I actually end up listening.
They all tell you exactly why they're getting divorced. If you take a look at the data, what it tells you is that...
That's so gross. If your man refuses to brush his teeth or go to the dentist, I have the easiest solution.
Squat to cap.
The primary reasons that women give for divorcing their husbands include that they feel they aren't getting enough pension, their husband is holding back their career.
Edmund Kemper. His mother told him no woman would ever love him.
That they, quote, grew apart. In other words, the woman got bored. And like Sarah Stockman.
Bryce Dejane Jones.
Apparently they wanted to try something new. They convinced themselves that there's nothing wrong with, giving another man a try. And there's nothing stopping these women from walking into a courtroom, telling the judge they're bored, and taking 50%.
Level 1, the curious child. You're 8%
of their husband's assets, along with alimony. Even in conservative states, they can get away with that. They can seize your home, they can seize your retirement account. They don't even have to look at what they're doing. Yeah, that's what the law is. One of the reasons this is a major problem is marriage is directly tied to civilization. Plenty of data shows, as you might imagine, that marriage is directly linked to fertility rates.
Domination.
Which seems great. Yes.
Capture the objective.
Population is they're encouraging it.
Securing C. Securing B.
Crimson 1 taking the objective.
Zone C secure.
Hey, finger off the trigger. Tossing Semtex grenade.
We're losing Charlie. They're taking C.
Capturing the objective.
Bravo underway.
In most cases, women should get $0.
Enemy with Semtex. Flash out.
We're losing Charlie.
Flatlined him.
Securing Alpha.
PID, they're mine. Eyes on Semtex.
They're taking C. Enemy UAV inbound. Hostile LDBR
Obviously.
detected. We're losing Charlie. Securing B.
Hostiles have eyes overhead. Eliminated UAV. Go time. Hey, don't make me return fire.
Taking B.
Move.
They're taking C.
Enemy grenade.
Yes.
Locking down Bravo. Taking
Beginning
A.
capture. Green line
Losing
deleted.
Charlie.
Enemy throwing stun. Enemy with Semtex. Enemy flashbang.
They're taking C.
Cover me.
Taking Bravo.
Taking the objective. Knock it off.
That's another thing, because I know he's gonna. I know he's gonna mention abortion later in the video. I haven't seen his video, but the timestamps. But what Genesis was saying is, so the Scandinavian countries,
Crimson One taking the
like
objective.
Norway,
Grenade inbound.
no,
Charlie.
Sweden, Denmark, they have a lot of abortions, despite the fact that they have these socialized systems. And they have a lot of access to, contraceptives. Still, it's legal and still has a lot of abortion. So, like, the things that he's talking about already do exist in certain countries.
Taking C. Taking B. Zone Charlie locked down.
Hostile line neutralized. Incoming flash
Hostile
out.
sentry turret.
Eyes on
active.
watchdog helo.
Get a UAV over.
Destroyed enemy mine. Get kinetic.
They're taking C. Locking down Bravo. We're losing Charlie.
Sharpshooter removed.
Enemy scout post detected. They're taking C.
RCXD active.
Taking B. All zones lost. Taking Alpha.
Flash thrown. Crimson One taking the objective. Cover me. Taking the objective.
Taking Bravo underway. Locking down all zones. Securing C.
Flashbang set.
Hostile UAV established overhead.
Yes.
Enemy recon spotted. Hostile UAV down.
Your tactics aren't working. Find another way.
Flash out.
Locking down Bravo.
Army Semtex. Spring mine spotted.
Hostile counter UAV
Get this back,
established
asshole.
above. The CIA against a handful of
The
goddamn
map's
criminals.
not hard.
This is the
We
best
lost.
you can do.
Oh,
Our children carry on your legacy, your bloodline, and your family name. You can have a family that is stable and whole, one that gives you a sure sense of purpose every single day of your life, a family you live with and share your life with and serve and lead and raise. Okay, so you can get love, meaning, purpose, and legacy. That's what you can get. And that's not an emotional argument, because those are not emotions. Those are real things. Those are nothing less than the greatest things life has to offer. So what can you get out of it? I don't know. The greatest things in life is what you can get. Nothing great. Nothing that can bring some more joy and make your life more worth living. So what you get or can get in a word is basically everything. It should also be said that as men, our concern should not be only what we get. What do I get is a fair question. And if the answer were nothing, then you should do it. But it's a fair question. It should not be the only question. You know, Tate says he has kids anyway, so he doesn't need marriage. But, okay, well, what would his kids get with him being married to their mother? Well, they would get a stable household with a father who's present every day, leading, guiding, and teaching. Well, sure, you can have kids without getting married. Plenty of people have done that, but all of the studies, all of the research, all of our experience as human beings show us that children are in a far better position with far better outcomes.
Yes.
The father is married to their mother and present at home, providing not just financial support, but a daily example of how to live. I mean, the evidence shows this. That's what your kids get. Well, what do they get out of you sleeping with other women? Choosing to be a stable presence in the home. What possible benefit does that bring to them?
Secure the
What do
objective.
they get?
Working this objective.
If you want to live a meaningful life as a man, if you want to be a great man, you need to be motivated by more than just a quest for what you get. There has to also be a sense of obligation.
Zone A secure.
That's what's driven
Losing
every great
Bravo.
man in history. You know, Tate talks a lot about escaping the Matrix. The question, what do I get, all by itself, will not lead you out of the Matrix, but deeper into it. I mean, in many ways, what do I get? The single-minded quest for pleasure and personal gain is the Matrix. That's what the Matrix
Hostile
is.
12.
If you want out of it,
Working on Charlie.
you need to ask not just what you get, but also what are your obligations. What's your purpose? What should you do? Now, if we zoom out even further, who else stands to gain from you getting married and having children? Having children with your wife and married?
Society as well.
Well, yeah, civilization itself. You can't pretend to care about the future of Western civilization while making a choice and promoting a choice to not get married, not have children.
Cover me. Taking this
And if
objective.
everyone made it, it would result in the extinction of the very thing you claim to want to preserve.
Locked down. Come get me.
Saying that your primary motivation for getting married should be continuation, continuation of your bloodline. Like, no human being is going to be foremost personally motivated by that. But these are benefits, and they're really important ones. Why should we get married and have kids? Well, if we don't, civilization collapses, the human race goes extinct, and nothing matters. Nothing will exist anymore. That seems like a relevant point. It's not irrelevant. And it's one that the anti-marriage side of the argument never addresses. You know, if every man, this is the thing, when you hear these commentators and influencers making and pointing to things like this scandal we're talking about. So this is why you don't get married. Well, if every man wanted their life, then society would disintegrate. And that strikes me as a pretty serious flaw in the plan. I mean, it strikes me that a plan must be bad. If full adoption of the plan would bring about the annihilation of the human race. So it seems like
Bravo.
That can't be a good plan. Like, we can talk about what a better plan is, but it can't be that. It can't be the thing where if too many of us do it, everything collapses and everyone dies and there's no more humans left. And yet, yes, there are still risks. There are risks I've already acknowledged. Risk that you can't protect yourself from with 100% certainty. But you can account for these risks to a very significant extent. You put laws in place to account for them, like we just talked about. And in lieu of those laws, or also in addition to calling for these kinds of policy changes, you can account for them personally. You know, it is possible that a truly sociopathic, devious con artist could scam you into getting married to them while expertly disguising their true nature. That could happen, but in the vast majority of cases, there are extremely obvious red flags that someone is untrustworthy and disloyal. Flags you can pick up long before marriage, if you're paying attention. Yeah, things like if she's spending a lot of personal time with her male boss, or any other. As soon as you're dating this woman, she should no longer be maintaining any kind of intimate personal relationships with other men, or spending any one-on-one time with other men at all. And if she's doing that, that's a problem. And if you express that it's a problem to her, and she's not willing to give that up for you,
Losing B.
That's your red. That's all you need. You're gone. If she seems to enjoy the attention of men who are not you while you're in a relationship, that's a red flag. If she's an e-girl begging for attention online, that's a red flag. These are all things that are very obvious. And you can identify them and suss them out if you keep your eyes on them.
Losing Bravo.
In most cases. Okay, which is good. A lot of cases like this when something happens. And it's a very cool that it's crazy.
Arm passed out.
It's just always just talking anecdotes. You find very often that the man is shocked and appalled, but a lot of people around him are like, yeah, I'm not that. It's terrible.
Administering enemy UAV inbound.
Like, even people on the outside can tell about. And if they could tell, then you also. And yet risks do remain, even in spite of technology. But here's the thing: there are also risks on the other side.
Hostile recon above.
Reject marriage and family.
UAV
down. Just mean the risk of civilization. You know, Andrew Tate says he doesn't need marriage because he can get any woman.
Hostile UAV established overhead.
All zones lost. And that may be true in his case.
Contact enemy UAV. Enemy UAV back.
Take that advice. We'll end up with a life that even take the attempt.
We locked down A.
0.1% less.
Securing
The
B.
reality is that the vast majority of
We're
men
losing
who
Alpha.
get married will not end up with a harem of attractive women. They'll end up alone, no wife, no children, and little in the way of financial success anyway.
We lost all zones.
Most
Hostile
people are
UAV
successful.
this sector.
Most
Hostile shooter.
people
Securing Charlie.
reject marriage, go
Take it
by broke and alone anyway.
Semtex incoming.
There's a risk
Incoming
that is
gun.
out there. They're actively choosing. And they choose it because they fear that if they
Control
do get
zone C.
married, they might end up
We're
broken
losing
alone.
Charlie.
And they might be choosing a bad fate that is
Secured.
almost certain because you fear a bad fate that is merely possible. Is, you want to talk about logic? Real logic. Now, does that mean
Nice.
that
We're
a
pulling
man or
ahead.
woman should be in marriage? No. Or business involved? Yeah.
Using stem shot.
Should change laws. Laws in place to reduce those risks and offer greater protection. Yes, but anything worth doing involves risk. And if starting a family isn't worth doing, then what is?
Deploying RCX.
And fatherhood and marriage, education, given right, he provide for and love his own family. You should let anything or anyone scare you away from it.
Losing B.
Now, you can avoid the Sarah Stocks of the world by
Sending me a back grenade.
if you're a woman, you can avoid the Elisha Schaefers by doing the same. But years from now,
Let's take it C.
when you're on your deathbed, surrounded by no one, with no one to mourn you, and no one to carry on your legacy and bloodline, or even place flowers on your grave, will you feel relieved that at least you were never divorced? Will you be happy about the chance you didn't
Bravo.
take?
Friendly.
Will you wish that you had given yourself to someone and created a family?
Taking still.
What was any of it for?
Securing Alpha.
Not for them.
Losing B.
Let's get to our 5 headlines. You know what? Today, our sponsor, Gamer Talk, celebrates President's Day because they believe wireless service should only cost you a couple of residents in Jackson and Lincoln. It's $25 a month for all Jackson, plenty of data. That's the cost of 2 deals out versus the hundreds of big wireless service families have. No reason wireless service needs to be that expensive. What makes Pure Talk different goes beyond just price. Their American wireless company actively supports our veterans and based customer service team. Plus, Pure Talk uses the same tower as the big carrier, so enjoy superior 5G coverage without the inflated price. Just
I can't even destroy UAVs with this stupid map.
no cancellation fee. Pure Talk.
Losing Bravo. Enemy UAV inbound.
Make the switch to Pure Talk. It's so this is pretty big.
Take out that UAV. Enemy care package above. Hostile UAV destroyed.
President again. Conservatives wishfully anticipated, hoped against hope
Bravo.
that maybe she was running again. But then the big announcement came, and that she had teased on the edge of their seat. And here's the announcement.
Enemy HARP operational above.
What's going on with my HQ? Well, I'm so glad
Hostile UAV established overhead.
So, to get basically the latest of what's going on. Instead of me revisit
Finish lines in sight. Assaulting enemy HARP.
the elected leaders, community leaders,
Bravo telling the UAV back.
young leaders. So stay engaged, and I'll see you out there. Thank you.
I was expecting
Enemy HARP above.
I was excited for that. This is even bigger. I can see why they were teasing this. This is innovative.
God damn, I love the game to victory. Hotel
Is
Sierra.
headquarters 6-7. You get it? You get it? 6-7. You know that the thing that the kids say? Do you get it? Do you get how they put 6-7 in the handle? Do you get that? You see how funny that is? Because it's a thing that people say, and they put it in the handle. And so then you see it, and you're like, that's hilarious. Let's see. Moving on. Bill Gates is, we have this clip, finally speaking out, trying to explain his appearance in the Epstein files. And here he is.
To a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to Global Health. You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret never knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them in the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. The email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files hasn't been true. Why would he do this and say this about you?
And it's actually true that I was only a nurse. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear.
Absolutely.
Will be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
That sound convincing? Anyone be convinced by that? He's asked about the email where his dalliances with Russian hookers are mentioned, his alleged dalliances, and him needing STD medicine that he was going to surreptitiously slip to his wife, all of that. And he's asked about it, and he says, it's an email that he wrote to himself. The email is, false. Sure, Bill. Okay, Bill. Just word of advice, if you're going to deny something, especially something this horrific, don't say before the denial. That was a very poorly placed Did you perverted stuff with Epstein? Well, that's, false.
Losing B.
Enemy grenade!
It really detracts from the denial.
Securing B.
It's like saying, Your Honor, I am not guilty of, murder.
We're losing Alpha.
Using stim.
Losing Bravo.
Kill people and, bury them in the basement. Sound and more importantly, Epstein was already a convicted sex offender pedophile. Bill Gates was palling around with him.
Trump's policies give tax breaks to billionaires and raise the cost of health care for the rest of us. His policies are screwed up.
He says, I didn't go to the island. It's like, okay, so, I didn't believe it, but now the island has become, that's everyone's defense now. I didn't go to the island, so we're supposed to believe that this sex offender pedophile, he only abused kids.
All right, come get resupplies.
Alpha.
Commencing capture operation.
And he says that it was a mistake. Well, I'm sympathetic to people who made mistakes years ago. I mean, not this kind of mistake. The mistake of accidentally hanging out with a global sex trafficking pedophile. Sympathetic to that at all, but I can be sympathetic in a general sense when someone says, hey, I made a mistake, it was a long time ago. But that sympathy usually hinges on them, number one, having not done something this terrible, but also them having been young a long time ago. Right? Bill Gates was in his late 50s, early 60s when this was happening. And we're supposed to believe that he was, just immature? Exercising immature judgment? Getting caught up in the glitz and glamour of Epstein's luxurious life, even though
Taking Bravo underway.
Way richer than him.
Tossing Semtex.
Part of it, and I think it's also important to point out that
Losing A.
You certainly should not care about respecting Bill Gates' privacy. I have seen some people expressing that sentiment enough, saying that even if this stuff about Russian hookers and STDs were true, it's private and it shouldn't be out there for public consumption. Well, as I said a few days ago, I have as much respect for Bill Gates' privacy as he has for mine or yours.
We lost B.
And also, if you're gallivanting around with, this is another point about these files, and why I'm in favor of them being released. If you were gallivanting around with a convicted pedophile and sex offender, you deserve the scrutiny. I mean, really, it's no different than getting pulled over. You're in the back seat of your friend's car, but he has drugs, and now you're going to get arrested.
Arming Semtex.
Because the assumption is that you were involved. And even if you weren't, well, you know, you need to be smarter about the people you hang out with.
Taking Bravo underway.
Like, if you're in a position where you can even get, there's something wrong with you, and you're not, and you're making some bad choices in your own life, if that's even something that can happen.
Locking down Bravo.
Right. So, and I think that applies to billionaires.
Securing B.
Just as much.
Bravo zone secure.
Cover me. Taking the objective.
Yeah, we talked about James Talarico. He's a Democrat representative of Texas, running for Senate now, and he calls himself a Christian, a seminarian, actually. But he's heretic and blasphemer. And on that note, this clip is going viral right now from what I think is a Joe Rogan episode from a little while ago, maybe a few months ago. But here he is trying to articulate the Christian argument.
Terminated.
As if there is one for abortion.
I think all this in terms of the context of abortion, because before God comes over Mary,
beginning capture,
and we have the incarnation, he's consent, which is remarkable. We go back and read this in Luke. The angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do, and she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories, that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the sacred acts that we engage in as human beings. That has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom. And to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus. And so that's how I come at that issue.
Yeah, that's a really compelling theological point if you're retarded. But for everyone else, there are millions of others. First of all, let's get this out of the way. God does not need our consent for anything. Creation does not require...
Losing B.
The Creator does not require consent to his creation. God does not need to require our consent.
Driving RCX.
And if we want consent, and this is what you get from a leftist degenerate scumbag, is consent-based morality. And it's consent-based morality in the sense that the only moral law anyone on the left recognizes is consent. And it should be that consent is that's one of the things. In order for an act to be moral,
Is hard. So Guardian MD makes medical oversight and compliance
role consent, but then other things also. That should not be the only thing. There should be the moral law should be far beyond consent.
Securing Charlie. Taking Bravo underway. We're losing Alpha.
That's the only moral rule that you pretend to recognize. And even that they don't recognize, obviously. They don't actually care about consent. So abortion doesn't maybe consent to that. Is there any consent there?
Exactly.
Of course not. I mean, they don't even think that the father should have to consent to the murder of his own child.
Exactly.
So they don't. So I say they have consent-based morality, and that's the only moral law they recognize. They don't even actually recognize.
Target down.
Because what
Commencing
their
capture operation.
moral law is that they individually should be able.
Eyes on Semtex.
Taking B.
is the whole of their that Satanism.
Locking down Charlie.
That's what Satanism is. So they are saying this. And this James Diller, I call that satanic. I mean,
losing Charlie.
I mean it in every sense. I mean it in one sense.
Yes.
We've lost Charlie.
So
UAV commencing surveillance operation.
Require consent. Creation is a divine act, and God never speaks to us and asks us whether we consent to anything. And in the story he's referring to, there is no request.
Yes, it was a.
So the angel appears to Mary and says, if all you have found favor with God, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son.
It wasn't a question.
Secured.
James says that, God comes and asks if that's something she'd be okay with.
Requesting recon above.
So now what God is just talking about God and God's language as though he's some shift manager, as if he's some middle manager in a company somewhere.
Bravo lost.
To your cubicle, like, hey, is that something you'd be okay with? Hey, I was just thinking.
Assault pack ready.
Just thinking that you could bear the seed of God in your womb. Is that something you'd be okay with? What do you think? Yay or nay? Hey, get back to me EOD, okay? Shoot me an email.
Not done requesting LTBR.
It's actually not what happens. The angel says you will conceive your son.
Capturing the objective.
But you will. Pretty important distinction.
Losing Bravo.
And Mary responds by saying, let it be done to me according to your will. So she's responding with obedience. Yes, she is exercising her free will, and that is important. But it's also the case that there was no request. There was no question posed. And God did not owe a request, or a question, or even an explanation. Right? And Mary lived out of obedience to the will of God, which, yes, is a very important part of the story. It's all totally irrelevant to the point he's trying to make. Because what we're talking about in that story is conception. You will conceive in your womb. Abortion, by definition, is not preventing conception. It is not preventing the creation of life. It is killing life which has already been created. So even if Mary had responded and not responded with submission, it would not have been analogous to abortion, obviously. Abortion kills a child who has already been conceived. Already exists.
They're right where we want them. Finish the job.
That's the whole reason why when they talk about reproductive rights, I've said so many times, reproductive rights and all the dishonest use that the left uses is certainly the most dishonest and the most destructive. Because this is not about reproductive rights. Abortion is not about reproductive rights. By the time the abortion happens, reproduction has already occurred. Okay, reproduction has already occurred.
Stand down.
By the time the abortion happens, that's why the abortion's happening.
Like had nothing to do with it. We were just better.
Abortion kills the life that has already been produced. Reproduction has already happened. Reproduction, the way these idiots talk about it, it's like they think that the birth itself is reproduction. It is not. There's a reason why when we talk about the reproductive act, we're not talking about birth. You don't engage in the reproductive act in the birthing unit at the hospital. At least it will be.
They do. Army. Great sauce. Professor saying, oh, wow, that's weird.
The reproductive act is the sexual act, which results in conception. And as soon as conception has happened, that is reproduction. So, and this is why you cannot be a pro-abortion Christian. This is why I say pro-abortion Christianity, or pro-choice Christianity, is a contradiction in terms. It's not even that